Hello, this is Sawyer for my Sprint 5 demo video here. For my new feature demo, I don't have any features to demo at this moment. I spent all my time this sprint working on Firebase, and while I did not get anything working quite yet, I've made a lot of progress on a bunch of different stuff, and I have code that I think should work and a database set up, but I don't have anything to properly show. I have I've built a listener here that should add something, but it's not quite showing up. But to show, I do have the whole at least beginning workings of the database showing up. There's again going to be a lot of kind of adjustment here on all of this stuff, but I don't have anything that you can actually see moved from the app here. But I do have the database up and working. And hopefully we'll be able to add stuff. That's my next sprint video. So for my GitHub check-in, I've got this. This was my commit. It had a bunch of different stuff in it. I made changes to our little bit of our app.js file. I added, this was a trial method to see if this would work. It didn't, to add stuff. This then was the call for it. For the view inventory screen, I changed a little bit there. And for then I had 3 new files. This was going to be this, and then I've got this whole file. The main methods here at the top that I was working on. It's got the return with the dispatch. We're also using reducers and everything to hopefully keep the state of the app um, consistent throughout. And so this was my first attempt at this, and this was essentially exporting kind of the same stuff. I got this from Matt. Matt helped me with some of this stuff. This was also add item reducer. This is the item reducer with the one case, because that's the only I'm working on that push notification right now, because if we can get that push to then notify an update in Firebase, then it will run the success and return initial state and all of that stuff, and that would be great. But I don't know if it will do that yet. Haven't really done any of that yet. So that is my new code. Unfortunately, there's not a success here, but there's a lot of progress, but not anything really. Like all these, like this method, I don't know why it's working. I'm having Matt help me troubleshoot it. Don't know why it's not working, whether it's the call is wrong, whether this thing is wrong. It's not erroring, so I don't think I've typed anything wrong. And I've looked up a lot of stuff, and I've learned a lot about states and functions and how to call stuff and how to actually reference stuff in Firebase. So we'll see. But yeah, so this is the main one, and along with a couple other stuff. For Gantt, we've got this here, Sprint 5. This was my main task, get Firebase working. I spent 13 hours on that this week, or it was pretty much all this week. You can see it over here. You've got me here on my stuff. I almost spent all the 15. I ballparked 15. I didn't know exactly how much that was going to take, but that was what I did there. It was most of it. Here was most of my times. It was all really this past week on it. Then for next Sprint 6, this is where we actually get into the database. They had me start where I was the only one working on this, and they had me start very early on with this. But now this is where we start to get the tables set up and all of this, because everybody else is finishing up their projects, which is why I wanted to get a head start on it. And that's why I need to build. I need to build a table, but I just need to get this connection working and kind of that connection and kind of start figuring out the schema for the Firebase actual table. The database I had, the data in here was literally just a straight import. At least most of it was an import off of a JSON. I played around with it and kind of did the structure, but most of it was that, and the main point of it was to be dummy data so that I could see if I could actually populate something in the database. So far has not worked. So that's mainly Sprint 6, get the database running, then we'll build the database calls, and then finally at the end we'll get our actual hardware connecting to the app. And so that's the big thing there. But this is my tough one right now. So thank you for the understanding of how confusing this can be. Thank you.